Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning Black in once again to Authentic Black Goddess TV. I'm your host, QueenAShakur. And as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at QueenAShakur. You can also follow the Queen Shakur fan page and find me on Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, let's get into it. The rise of white nationalist Hispanics. So much for the Black and Brown coalition, right? So Nick Fuentes, identified as a white supremacist in Justice Department filings, made the headlines last week for hosting a white nationalist conference in Florida. His father is also half Mexican American. Now, Fuentes is part of a small but increasingly visible number of far-right provocateurs with Hispanic backgrounds who spread racist, anti-Semitic messages. Now, Cuban-American Enrique Tarrio, the former leader of the Proud Boys, a group the Anti-Defamation League calls an extremist group with a violent agenda, was arrested Tuesday and charged with conspiracy in connection to the January the 6th Capitol riots. Now, experts tell Axios far-right extremism within the Latino community stems from three sources, and those include Hispanic Americans who identify as white, the spread of online misinformation, and the lingering anti-Black, anti-Semitic views among U.S. Latinos that are rarely openly discussed. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. They want to keep trying to feed this bull crap to Black people that there's a Black and Brown coalition, honey, when we know that most of these Hispanics and Latinos don't give a damn about Black people. They just don't. Remember the footage that I showed you last year when they had them literally riding around in their cars in California, throwing water bottles at Black people passing by on the street. There was also a video of a Black teenager walking home from school, and two of these racist, wannabe supremacist Latinos accosted him. They were clearly gang members, and then they started asking him what gang he belonged to and harassing him. So, honey, these people, and then let's not forget that a few years ago, they were also bombing Black people's houses or their homes. Not dropping bombs, but throwing like smoke bombs and stupid things like that. Just harassing the people and trying to run them out of the neighborhood. So they really don't like Black people. And I'm not saying all of them, but many of them don't like Black people. So, in fact, there is no Black and Brown coalition. All right. And I don't think there ever will be. I'm just saying. So Brian Levin, director of the Center for the Study of Hate Crimes and Extremism at California State University, or Cal State University, said in an interview that the trend is part of the mutation that takes place as the racist fringe tries to become more mainstream. Racism is deeply rooted in Latin American and Caribbean nations, where slavery was common. Now, Tanya K. Hernandez, a Fordham University law professor and author of the upcoming book, Racial Innocence, Unmasking Latino Anti-Black Bias, well, she says, in Latin America, white supremacy is alive and well. So you wonder why they cannot stand Black people and they exude and exhibit all of this anti-Black hatred and racism. Now, they say even families who have been in the U.S. for generations can often bring those biases with them. So the U.S. trend, fueled over the course of Donald Trump's presidency and the pandemic, extends beyond movement leaders to a broader network of participants, some of whom have forced hate crime charges. So last month, they say Jose Gomez III, who's 21 years old, from Midland, Texas, pleaded guilty in federal court to 3 counts of committing a hate crime for attacking an Asian American family, including 2 children, that he believed to be responsible for the pandemic. In 2018, Alex Michael Ramos, a Puerto Rican resident of Georgia, was sentenced by a Virginia district court to 6 years in prison for his role in beating a Black man in Charlottesville, Virginia, following the Unite the Right rally. Christopher Ray Monzon, a Cuban-American man and member of the neo-Confederate group League of the South, was arrested in 2017 for attempting to assault anti-racist protesters in Hollywood, Florida. He later resigned from the group and said he regretted using racial slurs for Black and Jewish people. I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. He didn't regret it, please. Okay. Now, At the conference in Orlando, which made headlines because U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene accepted an invitation to speak, Fuentes drew attention. And they say now, and they say, hold on, this is some of his comments. This is some of his comments, just so you know. I'm going to share my screen so you all can hear what this racist devil had to say. Everyone, please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time I go live.
Enhance the powers of the federal surveillance state. Let's face it, the United States government has become the evil empire in the world. The United States government has become the great Satan that many have called it. What even is our main export? We have our embassies and consulates all across the world. They wave the flag of what? Transsexuals, Black Lives Matter, the gay pride flag. You know, being an American used to mean something, and now it means all this crap. And it's a shame. You take a look at China. I hear Fox News and conservatives talk all the time about the ChiComs, Chinese social credit system. Have you taken a look at what Google and Facebook are trying to do? Social credit system. And now they're going on about Russia and Vladimir Putin is Hitler. And they say that's not a good thing. And I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. But what other way is there to say it? Of course, we know that's a terrible comparison. But they talk about Vladimir Putin and his treatment of the dissidents and of Alexei Navalny and all.
First of all, he sounds real ignorant, okay? And that's the thing about these racist, far-right, neo-Nazi type fools. They don't ever talk with sense. They make no sense. And they have these extreme, ignorant ideologies. You know, hating people simply because of how they look. And my thing is, you're not even indigenous to this land, but you want to come here and you want to be racist and hateful to Black people who are really the aboriginal ones of this country. Please miss me with it. And so anyway, he goes on to say, or they go on to say that Enrique Tarrio, who was the former leader of the Proud Boys extremism group, 38 years old, he previously faced charges and he was sentenced to 5 months in jail for setting afire a Black Lives Matter banner that was stolen from an historical Black church in Washington, D.C. They say, I'm pretty brown. This is what he says. I'm pretty brown. I'm Cuban. There's nothing white supremacist about me. This is what he said in 2020. Well, first of all, he may be brown, but he looks like a whole Caucasian to me. Another thing is this. Now, it's funny that he wants to, admit to being a brown person or a person of color and all of that when he's facing those charges. And he said there's nothing white supremacist about him. Clearly there is. You're in a whole white supremacist group, okay? And you clearly hate Black people and exhibit and exude anti-Black racism every chance you get. So please miss me with all of that. Now, Tarrio was suspended from Twitter in 2019 for posting anti-immigrant threats. He's an immigrant himself. How does that make sense? And he has denigrated transgender people and has used racist language to describe a Black actor. There are no limits to how accepted some far-right Latino activists can become in white supremacist and neo-Nazi circles. Mark Pikovich, a senior research fellow at the ADL Center on Extremism, said that some extremists are on 4chan and 8chan say Fuentes' Latino heritage disqualifies him from speaking on white supremacy. Meanwhile, some white supremacist elements of the Proud Boys dismiss Tarrio as a leader, but so far he has withstood the criticism. And this is what Pikovich says, who monitors the chats. Lucas Danzi, did not respond to emails seeking comment. And Fuentes' American First Foundation also did not respond to the request for comments. So, here's the thing. A lot of people want to act as though there's a black and brown coalition, as if we need to unite and all stand under the same banner against white supremacy. But how can we do that with the same idiots who want to be a part of white supremacy, who want to have a seat at the table, who would gladly turn against black people? And first of all, they actually think they're better than us. I mean, pay attention. Even these Hispanics and Latinos don't like the darker ones among themselves. They are even racist towards them, because all of them don't look like Caucasians. Some of them do look like black people, right? And so they even discriminate against their own people. So with that all being said, it's safe to assume that these devils are never going to change. They're always going to have this anti-black hate and racism. And it's just what it is. And they want to be having the seat at, the table of white supremacy, because they think that gives them the ups. That they feel like that will give them some advantage over the goings on. But what they fail to realize, in my opinion, is the same thing that coons fail to realize, that at the end of the day, as long as you're not white, you're always going to get your wake-up call. That's what you're going to get. They can accept you for the time being as long as you're pushing their narrative and spewing their racist rhetoric. But the minute you do something outside of what they like or agree with, you're going to get your wake-up call, and they're going to let you know that you're really not one of them, nor have you ever been. Okay? And that's when you'll see how stupid you have looked the whole time. And then what do those people do when that happens? Well, then they start talking about black and brown coalitions. Okay? I'm just saying. Make it all make sense. With that all being said, everyone, please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live.